Hey everybody, we're doing our daily recap of our small account challenge. And so today's Thursday. I've had a fairly decent week, Monday to Wednesday so far, green days. Things have been headed in the right direction. Today was another green day, finished with $640 in profit. I did trade a lot today. Some of it was taking larger positions on lower price names, and some of it was that it was just today was a day that I don't feel like I traded very well. It was a day that I had another broker issue. And when I say I don't feel like I traded well, it was I just don't feel like I was seeing things as clear as I would have liked to. Um, Maybe my pre-market analysis might have been a little bit off. And I feel like there were some tickers today that were had momentum, but they were a little more difficult to trade. There wasn't there was a lot of push today with a lot of names that was kind of unexpected. Um, I mean, there's still some stuff going on leading up to the election, but I assume some of the momentum was to do with the fact that the election certification was completed last night. So some investors are saying, okay, we're not going to storm Capitol Hill, which happened yesterday. Oh, and that's actually something I should mention. I have a confession that I did end up taking one trade after I did my recap, because what had happened was there was a protest related to the current president, Donald Trump, and he kind of promoted people to go to one of his events, and then it turned into a protest, and they took their protest to Capitol Hill. And if you're watching this, I'm sure you've already heard about it. But anyway, so there was that all that drama yesterday. So while that was occurring, I hopped back on my computer just in case, because this is a news event, and it's going to create movements within markets. And so I decided to take a put option. I don't really trade options much. I have a little bit of experience with them, but they're not my forte. But I took a put option on the overall market, and made a little bit of a profit. It was a small position because I didn't really want to put too much risk in something that's not my wheelhouse and my comfort zone. So I did. I think it was $150 or something like that I added to my day in profit. So that's why you might be seeing a little bit different on the start of day. Equity was 833 and finishing with 89.73. So it was a green day, like I said, but I definitely feel like it was not my best day. Now let's talk about the broker issue, and then I'll talk about some of the other things. So one of the names I really struggled with today was this MARA, and this has been flying because of Bitcoin. Past couple of days, past couple of weeks, you can see the daily chart. Obviously, it's just rolling. So I got long because you can see we ran into. So it had a nice run up, okay, and you can see kind of what it's been doing. Its trend has been push up, meet some resistance, pull back a bit, hold support, and then push higher. And nothing crazy in terms of candles or price moves. So there's a little bit here, a little bit of 60 cents, right? 70 cents. So nothing too crazy. But where I got caught was here, which was a dollar move pretty much. So there's the high and there's the low. So a dollar move within 2 minutes. So anyways, we can see that it's kind of, consolidates, pushes higher, consolidates, pushes higher. And so that's kind of what I was expecting here was consolidation 22.36, 22.34, 22.36, 22.26. Okay, pulled back a bit, held support right here. We can see this is support here. And then it pushed up over that 22.36. So I got long, and I took 1,000 shares. And I wasn't looking for a crazy trade. I'm maybe looking for 25 cents on this. And 25 cents, 1,000 shares, $250. Right. So I got long there, and then it's hitting 22.50, and I'm okay. That's okay. It's been very strong. it came back down to 2207 and pushed back up. I'm like, that's fine. As long as we're staying above 22, no issues. Boom, right? It hit here again, but now we're making a higher low on this candle. And then it broke through 2250 and it's up to 2279. So right when this happened, when it broke out, I tried to sell 2275. And what happened was my order, just like what happened before, would not be filled by my broker. It said gave me the error of you're trying to sell more than your long position again, which is not possible because I was trying to sell 1,000 shares and I had 1,000 shares. It broke out over the 50 mark, over 2250, and I tried to sell some. I tried to sell because I was long at 2237 or 38, and it broke over 50. I was trying to sell it in like the 60 area, about half, right? So that would have been 25 cents on about half. And then I was going to see what was going to happen from there. But anyways, so I couldn't get that filled on that half order because it was telling me that I was trying to sell more than my long position, which obviously wasn't the case because I'm trying to sell 500 shares out of 1,000. And so I'm noticing this, and then I start to panic a bit, obviously, because of what's happened prior. And then so I pull up the app, but I have to log into the app, and then I need to pull up the position in my app. And then I tried to sell out a market order because I'm just trying to get out of this position because I do not want to have happen what happened before, holding 1,000 shares, and then this thing starts to drop like crazy. And so I'm trying to get through the app, and I filled 100 shares instead of 1,000 shares. And so I sold those at the market. But then next thing I know, this thing drops like a rock. And so you see it pushes up here with this doji, right? The low of the candle is still 22.45. So even if I had got out of there on that candle, I would have been fine. But my order, I'm hitting the button like 10 times trying to sell. Cancel it. Try it with my mouse click. Doesn't work. Nothing. And then next thing you know, this thing drops 75 cents in one candle, right? And none of these other candles drop 75 cents. Like, this one, it's 50 cents, not even 50 cents. But I'm in this trade and it drops 75 cents and my order won't fill. So then I finally, I think after I was able to trigger the sale of the 100 shares through the app, it must have unglitched whatever was happening in my program, or whether it was the market makers or whatever. And so I, by that point, I'm now able to use my program again. And I just, hit the bid, I exited my position as fast as possible because this thing is starting to look like it's pulling back, right? Like, what if it did what it did up here, right? And I couldn't get out of the trade again. And it's ridiculous. There's absolutely no reason why running a trading program and a platform that you make people pay for, that you should be having these issues. And if they do have issues, then you should be reimbursed for them. It's plain and simple. So, like, it's just out of nowhere too. Like, this is at 11:20 in the morning. It's not, if it happened at 9:30 at the open when there's a crazy ton of volume occurring and there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in the market, I could potentially understand why you might have an issue. But randomly for a minute while I'm in the trade, just happens to not execute and then drops, and then I get it executed at obviously a loss. So I went from being up, I think, 350 to 400 bucks on that trade to losing, I think, 500 bucks on the trade. So it's an $800 swing on my P&L. And like I said, there's no rhyme or reason to it. And it would be nice if I had got frozen out of it and then it just kept running and I wasn't able to execute myself and just kept running upwards. But that is really extremely, extremely frustrating to see that again. After again, like I said, it's been 2 weeks. So you guys are seeing the issues with TRADEZERO, right? Leverage is great. Hotkeys are good. Customer service terrible, and platform issues they're obviously prevalent. So be very wary of that. And there's nothing you can do, right? Like it didn't matter if I had an order already placed to sell or a stop order or anything, it wouldn't have got filled. And so that's ridiculous, like I said. So that was one aspect of MARA. Then I had another issue with MRA, and I can't really blame anybody for this, but it was poor luck again, and with a small account and as newer traders or whatever, you have to avoid bad luck as much as possible. You want to keep the probabilities in your favor and keep the variables that you can't control to a minimum. But like I said, this is something you can't control and you can't get rid of it with the broker. And now this other thing, so I got long here. Okay, so we have the high day here. It curls up, makes a new high, but doesn't explode yet. But it curls again and it holds a higher low. Doesn't really pull back much. Nice support. Looks like it's starting to break out and gonna continue higher. Potentially make a nice start to new and continue trend upward. And all of a sudden we get this. It drops over $2 in 5 minutes. And these candles themselves are, you're looking at over 50 cents each 1 minute candle. So anyways, I got filled to go long over the break of high day, which was 24.22. I got long, and then it pushed up to 24.35, looked fine. Then all of a sudden, boom, drops like a rock. And that was because Bitcoin dropped $3,000 in a couple minutes. I don't know if it was a minute or two or whatever, but it was a couple minutes. And I don't know if that's happened all year or all 2020, other than when the pandemic and the market meltdown, maybe it happened during that. But after that, I don't think Bitcoin's moved that much in a period of a few minutes. And I just happen to be trading the ticker associated with Bitcoin when that occurs, and I happen to be going along when that occurs. So again, it's like not much working in my favor. I took a little bit of a loss on that again. It was kind of like I was building on my profit, and then something like that happens and it's right back to zero or slightly red. Build up the profit, back to zero or slightly red. And that's why you're seeing those commissions add up today. And, I'm still green, and, that's great, but clearly frustrating. So didn't have much luck with MARA today. What did we trade that did work out well? Triple D. So this was I wrote this off in the beginning in the morning. I said, this is not going to do anything. I was wrong. So I like the I had it on my watch list, but I like the pre-market pattern. It had news, had earnings released. So it was on my watch list. And I was watching it over here, 1473, 1477, 1469, 1460. So in that range, some resistance, but if you break through it, then you can potentially start a run. I've seen another, so it dropped down, then popped back up, and got some resistance here at that area that we just talked about, and then broke out and confirmed and started to push. Now, I wrote it off early here because it dropped down, pushed back up, and then it was just kind of doing nothing. I was like, well, the volume's not great. This is not really, really strong volume to open the day. So I was, whatever. And then, later on, it was probably an hour into the morning, I hear a couple mentions of it, and I'm saying, what? And this thing is up, look at 109% on the day. Just going through the roof. And so I ended up trading this a few times. I did pretty well on it. I traded here as a consolidated sideways and broke out over high day breakout. And that was a decent move, but I definitely didn't catch all of that. I didn't expect that it was going to continue to run like that. I made the move up to this area here, and I exited most of my position, but it just kind of went sideways. And
Okay, I found this on the web for this area here and I exit.
thanks,
Check it
Siri.
out.
And so then it broke out and continued higher, and this was actually the better breakout, which I didn't end up taking. The volume comes in pretty strong, but I was watching this after I missed that breakout for volume top, and so I took the volume top. The volume top was actually here, and is that right? Yeah, volume top was there, and so it ended up trending up a little bit more, but then started this heavy pullback, and I got it short around this area. I think I almost got in too early and almost got stopped out, but I hung with it a little bit longer. It could have resulted in a little bit of a loss, but I was pretty confident. I tend to be more confident, as I've expressed, with shorts, and volume tops are probably one of the best to short. So, and then this just drops right down. I got it too early. I did think this could potentially go to the VWAP because of how much it was up. But I did get in and out a couple of times, and then it got a little frustrating around the VWAP because it wasn't. You can see it starting to push sideways a bit more. Like, the high here is 2130, and then the low in this area here is 1979. So it's not as much range as what was happening up here, and it was a little more spready, and so it got a little more difficult to trade. And I was expecting that after it broke the VWAP, that it was gonna, make more of a move downward because it broke this support, not much left. So broke that, and then it just kind of bounced back and forth, and randomly, all of a sudden, there's not like really any support or resistance levels that I saw here that made me think there was going to be buyers coming in, but they did. Buyers came in. I was short here, so I ended up stopping at a relatively break even because I was anticipating the breakdown here to continue lows and continue lower. And it didn't. The buyers came in and pushed up, but then it just kind of moved sideways again. But after it got above the VWAP, held the VWAP, and got above the EMA, I was watching it here. And so I got long again and made a little more money on that. So a little more profit there. So this one was much easier to trade. And you can see, look at that. It's got a cup and handle forming. Uh, if I was going to trade it now, which is after hours, so we won't do that. But I'd be looking at something like that and continuing on higher. So that was a pretty decent move. Did I trade anything else? Oh, one of the other ones I struggled with was Plug, PLUG. Now look at this, just still going up 41%. This one, it's just the way it trades is it's like I said, I'm a breakout trader, so my entry a lot of the times ends up being that breakout for an instantaneous push. This one, like you look at this here, and it kind of like say if we say it breaks out here, right? Like it pushes up higher, and it breaks out over this level, but then it pulls back, and then it doesn't really do anything. It moves sideways, and then it does a little more of a breakout, then drops right down $1, then pushes back up again, and kind of inches higher, and so it was hard. Like he kept moving upward in an upward trend, but it was a diminishing trend that was hard to manage, and I found it difficult to roll with and stick with. So, but then I missed it later. I had this marked off here that could have got long above that, but because of the way it traded, I get hesitant about it, right? And then you look at that and it just ran into the close, and it's still running into after hours. So would have been a nice swing trade there, but what can you do? And like I said, it was hard to day trade it as well because of the price action that it brought in. And I traded Lemonade a little bit, LMND. It's made a nice move today. Just a random. I didn't catch any news on it, but volume all of a sudden came in, pushed it higher, and so I took a little bit of as a pullback here on the bull flag breakout. I just traded that for I think 1.5 100 shares, and that was pretty straightforward. The only thing with LMND is very hard to get filled because I try to get filled a little bit below the ask, but because the spreads are so wide on LMND, it's hard to get filled. So today, I'm tired. Like, I feel like I had to grind it out today, but did what we needed to, and overall with the equity, it's looking pretty good. Um, if I add in the stuff that I've taken out, total account would be up over 10K, which is fantastic. Um, we're not at 10K in profits just yet, but getting there closer. Um, so, it's a green day, right? That's what matters. I don't even really, at this point, I don't even really worry about the numbers so much until after the fact when I'm doing this review and going over my account. But as you get more experience as a trader, you tend to just worry about making a good trade and not making a poor trade, and that'll lead to being successful in the long term. And so that's what I'm just going to do tomorrow. The same thing that we talked about is try to finish off the week. I did mention that I tend to have one red day in a week, so we have one more day left in the week, and I feel like I got through some tough stuff today. You know, this could have been a bad day, but it was managed well. So I'm hoping tomorrow I can come back, better than I did today, and you know, just finish with a green day. And even if it's $200, then it's $200, right? And I did also take a swing trade, so we'll see how that holds up. Seems to be moving pretty well right now. But you got crypto going crazy, markets going crazy, and so there's a lot going on. New year, right? And so that's why we just got to take it as it comes and make sure that we follow and practice the things that we've been talking about, preaching, and the strategy that makes us successful. So we'll get back to it tomorrow.